Have you ever felt, well, kind of lost? Like the rule book you were given just doesn't apply to the world you're living in anymore? It's a feeling that a whole lot of people are dealing with, especially once you hit your 40s and 50s. So in this explainer, we're going to dive into a pretty powerful take on why those old spiritual paths might be letting us down and what a new, much more active way to find your purpose could actually look like.
And really, it all boils down to this one simple sentence. In my 50s, I don't know what I want to do. If that hits home for you, listen up, because you are definitely not alone. You know, you've built a career, maybe a family, you've played by the rules, and then you land here, asking, okay, now what? But here's the thing, this isn't some personal failure. The argument we're exploring today says it's a sign that the entire framework we've been handed is just plain obsolete.
And this really gets to the core of the problem. Think about it. The traditions passed down to us, they were forged in a completely different world, a world of survival, when the main goals were just raising your kids and keeping the family going. There was literally no time or energy for the kind of deep, personal self-discovery we're all craving now. The old spiritual tools were built for a totally different job.
Okay, so if the old tools aren't working, where do we start? Well, let's re-examine one of the most common ones, the temple. What is it really for in our modern lives? The answer might actually surprise you.
This right here highlights a massive shift in thinking. For so many of us, a sacred space is a place to go ask for stuff. You know, you beg, you bow, you hope for the best. But the argument here is that we've got it all wrong. A temple's real purpose isn't to be a wishing well. It's supposed to be a school for your mind, a place you go to actively learn and grow. So how do you actually use this school? Well, instead of just going there to bow a few times, you go for some quiet contemplation. You take something you've learned, maybe from a book or a lecture, and you just sit with it. You meditate on it in that peaceful environment. You could even just pop in some headphones and listen to a Dharma talk. The whole point is to actively use the space for what it was really meant for: study.
All right, let's shift gears and look at another really common practice, those big, often expensive rituals for our ancestors. In Korea, this is called chendoje, but the question is universal. Are these rituals really doing what we think they're doing?
I mean, this question cuts right to the chase, doesn't it? We do these things out of love, out of a sense of duty, but do they actually work? We have to think critically here. If a spirit is stuck because of its own regrets and attachments, how can a chant, paid for by someone else, magically set it free?
And here's the uncomfortable truth being presented. A lot of these rituals have become a business. They're designed to make the living family feel better, like they've done something, but they don't actually address the spirit's core problem. You can't just throw money at a deep spiritual attachment and expect it to go away. It needs a totally different approach.
So, what is that different approach? Well, it's a concept called Jado. And this is where things get really interesting because we're going to stop deconstructing the old ways and start building a new framework, one that works for both the living and the dead.
Now, the key thing to understand about Jado is that it's not a ritual, it is an education. The word itself means to teach the way. The whole idea is to stop treating a spirit like some problem to be banished, and instead see it as a lost soul that just needs a teacher, someone to explain why it's stuck and how it can finally move on. And here's how it actually works. First, you create a formal setting. But then, and this is the game changer, a Dharma master gives a lecture speaking directly to the spirit. The core of that lesson is explaining how the spirit's attachments are actually hurting the living people it cares about. It's through this understanding, this education, that the spirit is guided to finally let go on its own.
And here it is. This is the crucial connection back to us. This whole concept of Jado, it isn't just for spirits. It is a perfect model for us, the living. When we feel lost, when we feel stuck, the answer isn't just to hope for some divine intervention. The answer is to seek out teaching, to find guidance, to learn the principles of how this all works so we can find our own way forward.
This leads us to a really, really important distinction that kind of unlocks this whole philosophy. It's the difference between what we usually call faith and what a true religion is supposed to be.
So look at this. Faith, or shinang, is basically our emergency button. When we're in trouble, we press it and ask for help. And hey, that's a totally natural thing to do. But it's not the end goal. A true religion, Jonggyo, actually means the highest teaching. Its purpose isn't to be a crutch for when times get tough, but to be an education that helps you live a better life from the get-go.
And this really gets to the core criticism of a lot of modern spiritual institutions. They are fantastic at gathering followers based on faith, on people's needs, their fears, but many of them have just stopped right there. They've become these huge organizations for managing a flock, instead of becoming true educational centers that actually empower people. So if the goal isn't just to be one of the flock, what is it?
Exactly. If we're not meant to just sit around having faith, what are we supposed to do? This brings us to the final and most empowering piece of the puzzle, the mission of the Hongik Ingan.
The idea here is that many people alive right now are these Hongik Ingan. These are souls of leaders from past lives. Think kings, queens, generals. And in those past lives, their big decisions created a massive amount of karma. So their purpose in this lifetime isn't to pray for forgiveness. It's to actively get to work and resolve that karma by helping people.
And this is the ultimate takeaway. Your life's work, your karmic balance sheet, it isn't cleared by looking inward or looking upward. It's cleared by looking outward. It is resolved by taking concrete, real-world action that's dedicated to making society better for everyone.
So what does this path look like? Simple. Step 1, you acknowledge this responsibility, you own it. Step 2, you dedicate your life, your time, your energy, your passion to helping others. Step 3, you go live a full, amazing life, but one that is in service to the greater good. And by doing all that, you burn away that old karma and you finally achieve true liberation, or heitel.
And we're going to end on this beautiful, beautiful idea. Forget the rituals. The greatest honor you can pay to your ancestors, to your family, to yourself, is to live a brilliant life. A life where you are respected, not because of what you have, but because of what you contribute. That is the new path. That's the new purpose for a new era. So the only question left is, what kind of shining life are you meant to build?